Hey, I'm standing in the Great South Florida Food Forest Project down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And things are getting a little bit overgrown. It is November of 2015 and there's a lot of stuff to show you here, and the trees are looking great, but a lot of our mulch and nitrogen fixing plants have gotten a little out of control. So we're going to clean it up a little bit and then go on a tour.
He's cutting down all the mulch and nitrogen fixing plants he planted in his forest, chopping them up into mulch and making humus for the microorganisms to eat and feed his trees. What a bold man swings from the shed. Look at him go and ride the machete. He's so amazing in his machete. I wish he could cut all my forest down. Drop it to the ground, except the parts I want to eat.
It's time for a tour. Let's start in the front yard with the tamarind tree we put in. Look at this thing. It's a good 16 foot tall now. Hasn't borne tamarind yet, but it sure is a beautiful tree. Look at that beautiful trunk, how big it is. It's a very happy tree. Over here we have our canistel. Got to taste these yesterday at the Fruit and Spice Park. Great tasting fruit, very interesting, kind of creamy, crumbly texture. Texture's like cheesecake. Now let's go to the back. Over here we've got some weeds, some malanga and some pineapples hiding in there. Needs to be cleaned up a little bit. Lemongrass, Cuban oregano, this cranberry hibiscus. A lot of weeds kind of eating their way in there we haven't cleaned up yet. This is Surinam Cherry. Underneath a papaya. There was one little papaya at the top of that stick up there yesterday and we took it down. It's sitting in the fridge. Little nopali cactus here. Here's the food forest proper. We did a little bit of cleaning up, as you saw. That is the 6th Street mulberry from the Edible Plant Project. Look at how tall it is. Even down here in Fort Lauderdale, it's very happy. It's borne a few fruit. It bore a few fruit this spring, but not much since. This is a grumichama, very slow growing tree, but it's happy. We got our first fruit off of that this year and tasted like a cherry. It was good. Cassava, Mexican tree spinach. There's our newly cropped Tithonia diversifolia, the tree marigold. Really good for phosphorus and micronutrients. Here is another Surinam cherry. That was tiny when I put it in. I know it's not very big now, but it's a lot bigger than it was. A lot of stuff on the ground here. A lot of biomass. Cashew tree, still doing well. There's mother-in-law tongues and ferns and these interesting weeds I have not been able to identify. I have no idea what they are. If you have an idea what they are, let me know in the comments. Please. I'd love to nail them down. They pop up everywhere. There's more cassava. More cassava. Here's another mulberry. This is supposed to be a dwarf mulberry, but it's actually pretty tall, so I'm starting to wonder. This is a marvelous mango tree. It's now getting close to 20 foot, I'd say, and it bears prolifically, just not at this time of the year. Got some nitrogen fixers down here to feed it. And there's some orchids hanging up here and a little bird feeder that I made for my mom as a gift. This is Frangipani Tree, by the way. My dad just stuck this in here, stuck a cutting in because they're beautiful. This is a Plantain Banana. This has borne plantains, but it's not currently blooming. Another nitrogen fixer. A moringa. Another banana. And around here, check out this star fruit. This is a incredible success, this tree. When he first planted it, it was about 4 or 5 foot tall, a little stick, and then it was really dry and it was very unhappy, and the whole top of the tree died down. I wasn't taking care of it. My parents were really busy. They weren't taking care of it. I came back, the tree was almost dead. Put some fertilizer around it, mulched it, piled up a whole bunch of scraps and stuff from the neighbors' yard waste bins all around the base, built the soil up. The tree responded and has gone crazy, and it's been bearing 2 crops of fruit a year, almost all year round. There's at least a star fruit or 2 on here that you can eat. I just ate one a few minutes ago, and they're really good. Great tree, and a beautiful tree. Right here's my mom's little key lime tree, which bears key limes over and over again, even though it's kind of a sad looking little tree. Around the corner, here's some ornamental gingers that got tucked in there. More Mexican sunflowers. And there are yams growing up here. So you can see the bulbils hanging. Somewhere we planted the yams, and I don't exactly know where. I haven't been able to find the base of them yet. This is Solanum Dye Filum growing back here. It looks a lot like a citrus. It's not really edible, but it's a cool looking plant. On the fence here is the wild bitter gourds or balsam pear. It's a common weed in Florida, but it's strongly anti-cancer. Really cool. Here we've got katuk, star gooseberry, edible leaves, and this is Turks Cap Hibiscus, which is an edible hibiscus. Over here is the avocado tree we put in maybe about 3 years ago now. I started it from a pit, and it's actually done quite well. It was a pit from an avocado that was about the size of a, I was gonna say a cantaloupe, but more like a honeydew. It was an incredibly large avocado. I'd never seen one like it. A relative from Thailand had gotten it from one of her friends. I said, we've got to plant that pit. So I planted the pit up where I live, grew the tree up a little bit, and then brought it down here. And this one, which I'm always proud of, this is a super prolific coconut palm tree that I planted when I was 15 years old, which makes it, now I have to do some math. Oh man, it hurts. Okay, no, it makes it 21. It's 21. I should get it some rum for those coconuts. Let's go around and take a look at the other trees. Here my mom's planted some of my Seminole Pumpkins, a couple of different strains. That's one strain right there, and another strain right here. This is my variety. That's a variety from the Master Gardeners. So this is continuing my breeding program, and she's growing them down here in soil that's much worse than the soil I have up in my area. So we're going to keep the line going and keep crossing it and testing and selecting out the ones that turn out the best. This here is black sapote, chocolate pudding fruit. Look at the fruit. These are pretty small for black sapotes. I don't know if those fruit are going to get bigger or not. Never having grown this tree before until we put it in a few years ago. Behind it here is some beans along the fence. And then there is this passion fruit vine. Marvelous passion fruit that I got from Dave and Guda Taylor at Taylor Gardens Nursery. And continuing, Haitian basket vine growing right here, which is not all that happy, but it's not dead either, so it's got that going for it. And then the tropical almond that I featured in another video recently. I'm so psyched out about this tree. I love it. It's really beautiful, and it's got such great shade. There's still almonds all over the ground here. See them? Plenty of almonds. I redid the math on it. This tree is 2.5 years old. Look at it, 2.5 years. A little fig here in the corner, which has really not done much at all, at all here. It's probably getting eaten up by nematodes, and it also doesn't get enough sun. And this tree here, the Barbados Cherry, also known as acerola cherry. I've been eating cherries off it all week, but it's almost been stripped. See, there's a cherry in there. Really good, sweet tart, high in vitamin C. Very, very easy tree to grow. And it's totally a tropical tree. Only takes temperatures down to about 28 degrees. And perfect down here. Over here I've got some plants that I'm going to be putting in the food forest here pretty soon. Come around the front. This is my dad's beautiful landscaping here. This little canna that I stuck in there. This is our jaboticaba. And it's growing slowly but surely. It's getting bigger. I have high hopes for it. There's a salvia and Natal Plum, which has been bearing more fruit since we cleaned around it. It was surrounded by asparagus fern or foxtail fern or whatever they call it, and there was just this dense mat around the base of it here that was out of control, and it was sucking up all the nutrition. When we took that out, it just sprung to life and started bearing fruit again. It doesn't have any blooms or fruit right now. It looks like it's in a growth cycle. There's a bloom coming on right there, just about to. But it's got a nice flavor, kind of like a raspberry plum. Pretty neat. But that's it. That's the update for now. Trees are only going to get more and more and more productive from here on out. So visit me on the web. See more of my food forest projects. Check out my book, Create Your Own Florida Food Forest. Share, like the video, all that cool stuff. And I will see you at thesurvivalgardener.com. That's fantastic. That's good too.